What's up guys, Elfis here, and today we're going to be doing another HoN versus. This time we're going to put Sir Benzington versus Hellbringer, and this is where I'm going to put them 1v1 solo mid. I'm going to tell you who's going to win, why they're going to win, and what the loser should be doing. Alright, so let's jump into this. Okay, so first of all, who's going to win? Well, who's going to win is slightly up for debate. I personally think that Sir Benzington will be much better off when it comes to winning the lane. And I'll explain why for a couple reasons. First of all, because he happens to have a slightly higher attack damage, which that'll help. Also because the hero should probably have a hatchet, since most melee heroes do. Hatchet, shield, and some runes is usually the way you go as a melee hero in mid. There are a few exceptions, but it's rare. So he should have a hatchet, so he should be able to get last hits, and the shield will help mitigate damage. On top of the fact that the hero itself, if you look down here, has a fairly high armor rating to start, so he gets to mitigate a fair amount of damage from that as well. So he won't be too easy to harass. On top of that, also, Hellbringer doesn't really have too much harass in him. He has Death Boil, which does do quite a bit of damage, I will give you that, but it's very mana costly, so it's not something you can spam to harass. You can use it 1-2 times, whatever, and maybe a little more than that, because you might have gotten some mana potions, might not, I'm not really sure. However, Benzington doesn't really have much to harass either, so I don't think he'll win harass-wise. What I think he'll win-wise is because he'll have more last hits, and last hits equals gold, and gold equals the ability to do whatever really gives you your items. So he will have more last hits supposedly, and actually as you're just watching, just auto-attacking, you can see that Hellbringer is getting pushed, the wave is getting pushed to him quite a bit, because he has a lower attack damage, period, and it's just what it comes down to. Not to mention, he probably has a lower attack speed, start 1.4, 1.55 for the cooldown. Yeah, so Hellbringer has a slightly longer attack cooldown on top of the fact that he also has a lower attack damage, so neither of those help his cause. On top of that, also, when it comes to fighting for runes, stuns are usually key, and Sir Benzington happens to have a stun that is fairly easy to land. It's not impossible to dodge, but it's certainly not difficult to land, I don't think, assuming you do it right. So he should be able to get all the runes if he so desires. So there's that. Hellbringer won't really get many runes if Benzington plays it correctly. He shouldn't get many last hits if Benzington plays it correctly. And on top of that, once they hit 6 is really when both heroes start to shine. And I'll talk about that in a second when we get to what the loser should be doing. But until they hit 6, they can't really do much for gank-wise. Really, either of them, but specifically Hellbringer, he can't really do too much. He can gank, it's just not quite as effective as some other gankers could be, because he doesn't have any stuns. What he does have is, he has Unholy Shackles, which is a lower movement speed and attack speed, but really the movement speed is what will help him gank. And that's nice, but it's not phenomenally useful. So, especially in ganking, stuns are really the gold that you kind of fight for. So now we know who's going to win and why they're going to win. What should the loser be doing? Well, the loser will be Hellbringer, based on my predictions. And what should he be doing? Well, he shouldn't really be fighting for runes. He should be trying to get as many last hits as he can while Benzington is off getting the rune, things like that. And on top of that, as soon as he hits 6, he can try and gank before then if he gets a nice rune, but really it'd be unlikely for him to get a really nice gank setup before then, I think. It's not impossible, just unlikely. So what he should be doing is trying to farm up as much as he can when Benzington's fighting for the runes, and just anything that he can get, and ganking if he gets a nice rune, or if it's an easy gank he predicts, or something like that. However, both heroes, as soon as they hit 6, get their ultimates, and I'll just quickly mouse over their ultimates here in a second. I'll quickly mouse over both ultimates. You can read them both, and you can decide for yourself, you know, all that kind of shenanigans. They are both very nice ganking ultimates, particularly Benzington's. Hellbringer's is usually more so used for team fights. It's great counter initiation, and on top of that, it is great for pushing towers and or stopping tower pushes. So it's a great ability in general. I think Benzington's applies a bit more for ganking, but you can use Hellbringer's to gank just as much, if not. I just think it won't be quite as effective, but it can still be ganked. It can still be used to gank. So don't let that deter you by any means. So once they hit 6, they should be ganking, both of them. Although again, I do think Benzington will do slightly better. But that's my own personal prediction. I think it could be argued that a Hellbringer ultimate is just as good of a ganking tool. I just think that it's slightly not as good, and that's my personal opinion. Because it doesn't quite do as much damage, I think. It's a nice ability, and the stun isn't very long. I'll mouse over 1 more second to 1 second stun. Granted, it's a huge stun, but it isn't quite the same as having, you know, a big damage nuke such as him. which isn't really all that hard to hit. I mean, technically, you could miss it if the little circle, he walks out of the circle. I don't really know how else to say it. Anybody who's played Dungeons & Dragons know what I'm talking about. But any teammate who can stun, which there usually are a lot of, should be able to hold him down, and then it'll be a free kill from there, because you'll nuke him quite a bit with your ultimate, then you hit him with your Q, you stun him, and it should be a free kill from that. So I think in all means, Benzington will win. However, Thunderbringer can't. I said it twice now. Hellbringer can gank quite effectively, still using his ultimate. It's just not quite as effective in my opinion, and he can certainly get some stuff done. He's certainly not a useless hero, and on top of that, Hellbringer really only needs levels, and he can be a enormous asset in team fights. That's the reason you pick that hero, is for that ultimate in team fights. It's such a good counter initiation. It's a very, 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 very good team fighting ability. So, and that's the reason everybody has it. And they've changed it slightly in the last, I think it's like 3.2 or something like that, the update they changed it. It's a bit more unique now, in my opinion. I don't know if I'd necessarily say it's better or worse, but it's certainly different, and I really like it. But again, same thing. It's still used a similar way. You still use it counter initiation, ganking, team fighting, things like that. So it's still a similar skill, even though they changed it slightly a little bit. Sorry. It's still useful though. So once again, just to reiterate, Benzington should win. Hellbringer can gank. He can be in team fights. He just needs to get some levels, and he'll be okay. He can farm a bit when Benzington's trying to go for the runes. He should not try and fight him for the runes unless he gets a head start, because he's not going to win probably. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely to say the least. So there's that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, comments, etc., feel free to post below and let me know. Other than that, or recommendations for who you want to see next, and again, post below. Other than that, I will talk to you guys later. And once again, thank you for watching. GG, well played, guys. Elfis out.